Bro, I did recorded like 15 minutes, and then I realized that I had the mute button. No. All right, so my previous video I mentioned the battle system. And it's a little bit more refined now, so I want to kind of go through that a little bit and show like where I'm at with that now, and talk about a couple little bugs. And also I have changed the aesthetic a little bit so that there is line shading, like kind of like I don't know how it sound offensive, but you can know what I'm talking about if you're mentally ill. But skits art, you know what I mean? Like that lines everywhere stuff. I am a primarily art wise, like drawing wise, sketch artist. So that's something that works. Like I'm good with that. I feel like I like the tone of it, and you'll see it in the enemy in a minute. But how I'm gonna do it is I'm not gonna have it in the environment when you're running around, walking around like this. I am gonna have it in cutscenes. I am gonna have it on item pickups, and I am going to have it on, like how you just saw it, like pop up. I'm gonna have it on enemies. But I'm not going to have it on icons, I'm not going to have it in the overall environment, and I'm probably not going to have it on sprites either. The reason for that is because it's just more fluid that way. Otherwise, there'll be too many lines everywhere, and it does give a nice, like, kind of like, it matches the grotesqueness, and it's a nice juxtaposition that also matches the grotesqueness of the game, like that core, that raw feeling, that is also present in SpongeBob and in what is it, Ren and Stimpy, when they do like the little photorealistic looking, like more, you know, painted contrast to make the viewer feel uncomfortable. It's the same kind of concept, it's just, you know, a little bit different. Am I healed now? Yes. Okay. So battle system. Let's get to that, and then I guess maybe I'll show you a couple little other things after the fact. But this is the most important thing here is just I changed a little bit of aesthetic direction and made some improvements in the battle system. First thing is the layout. Visual stuff is very good, but also problematic in some ways sometimes, and it's not. What are you gonna do? You know. Because the code can't be fixed by the community, so sometimes it interacts with things in not such a great way. Okay, but I was able to get some people to help me out here, and so I do have the MZ style screen, and I like it way more. Like before, the fight and this, you know, all this little section was on the right side. It was weird. This is just much more. I like it more personally. I don't know how everyone else feels, but I like it this way. So, first things first. So we'll just do a regular attack. Actually, we'll start off with the special attack. Not everything is going to have this. Certain attacks will have different variations of this. Kind of like how in Clear Obscure, when certain attacks you have the time inputs. Where you gotta press like A at the right time to make the attack do the attack, or at least do it strong. Same idea here. It's going to be different based on attacks and everything, and it's also worth noting that this is right now for testing purposes, so this attack is very strong, so you're going to have a lot of special to be able to use it. Right now, you don't. Also, I have changed the battle style to go instead of just being flat turn-based, it is agility-based, but it's also not time, so they can't attack me when I'm just doing things. And the reason, like it is in Final Fantasy IX, and the reason for that is because of the parry system gets screwed up with that. This is a good balance. It adds some diversity in the. Hopefully, I'm not screaming at the mic. I probably am. That's okay. It adds some diversity to the battlefield. It feels better. So. It was very quick, but as you can see, and that is the parry system. And it has on-screen notifications because, and I'll talk about it in a second. Let me try not to get hit. Okay, not everything will do. Every attack from the enemy will be 100% hit. But not every attack. So a lot of attacks are going to have parries. Not everyone will. If it was every parry, then like it would be like how in a Clear Obscure, how you could parry every attack, you know, but I don't know if I want to do that here. I think it'd be too easy. I want it to be to switch you up. I want you to have to get hit. that's how it stands now. Maybe I'll change that. You let me know how you feel. But for now, that's gonna be what that's gonna be. So, regular attack. It's just a regular attack. It does not have the thing. Now, the reason that there are on-screen notifications for parries, as well as another thing you will see soon, is because the plugin that I use has a couple of bugs, and the audio, and the way that it is intended to be used from the player's perspective works fine. The audio is fine. If you don't press an input, the thing fails. But something about that, the way it's written, is different than if you press an input incorrectly. And so as a consequence, two things happen. The audio gets screwed up, at least when the enemy is attacking, to where if you don't press any input, it makes the same noise as if you press the input correctly. So can't have that. So what I did there is I changed the game's dodge, the sound that makes when you miss something, like an attack, when you miss an attack, to the parry. I'm gonna probably change the parry noise so that it's not the same thing you'll hear in a bunch of other games, of course. But for now, that works fine. For my testing and building the game purposes. Now, the other thing that happens is that when you miss an attack when you miss a parry by not pressing an input, you still get hit as you're supposed to. But it doesn't show the screen shake, and it doesn't have that. It just it makes a noise, and as usual, and then it takes HP away. Not a big deal. I'll bring that up to him at some point, the author, but I also brought a bunch of other stuff and they have to fix, and I don't want to overwhelm them. So I'll bring that up at some point and see if there's a way that they could fix that. There's definitely something going on there, but it's not something I know how to resolve, so I'll see if I can work with them to get that figured out. If not, it's not the end of the world. Even if it's a little bit janky, I feel like me playing, I have come to understand that that's just an aspect of it, and so it's not jarring. But it might be jarring at first, but also not the end of the world. I do plan on selling this game when it is finished, but not for an extreme price. It'll be a fair price, so fair to me and fair to the consumer. Probably somewhere around the Fear and Hunger price range, which is extremely fair. If not, you should. I could see somebody paying more for Fear and Hunger, but these games, the games for RPG Maker that are now, that is extremely forgiving. I don't know if I want it to be that forgiving, because you can see I kind of missed a pretty good chunk. Oh my god, fucking shortcut thing. I missed a pretty good chunk. Let's see. Ooh, that's too good of a chunk. Maybe because of speed? Or maybe because of the... Wait, I'll get that figured out. Yeah, I think it might be because of the speed. The input? Or there's some other weird thing going on. Not a big deal. I'll figure that out. Unfortunately, both is the same plugin that does both the circle time thing and also the parry time thing. And there's only one option to set its space on screen. So, but I will get that resolved. Worst case scenario, it just has to be. I'll figure out where to put everything, and it'll be fine. That's more of a logistical thing than it is anything else. But I'm gonna keep that in there because you might as well have, even if it's hella forgiving. I think it's just because it's moving so fast. But believe it or not, the way that the parry, even though it's kind of slower than what you would expect in Clear Obscure or whatever, it is still Oh, it already did the heal thing. I didn't talk about that. So, the flesh doesn't actually, which is the core of this enemy, doesn't actually attack, but it does heal all the parts of the enemy, as well as get rid of status effects. And I also have that indicated through a thing. through an on-screen display. And I'm also going to think of other ways that I can make the battlefield more interesting with on-screen displays. Like there's a GIF thing that I gotta figure out, a GIF plugin, and I could have like little animated things here and there occasionally on the screen, especially as you progress in the game. And I feel like that could be definitely a really cool thing here. Now, let me just get out of here. You've learned enough about that. Now, is there anything else I need to show you in terms of this like area? I don't believe that there is. So I'm gonna skip to showing you something that is just really annoying. And that is, let me go to this one. Let me actually change that one, and just to, just to be safe. Because there's something that is very, very annoying. As you can see, here, I'll just screw with this one. You see how... No, you can't. You can't see. Of course you can't. Hold on. You see how tiny that is? Look at this. It does not get bigger. And this is what I have to look at, except I have to look at it from the perspective of this. And even if I magnify it, it's not... I mean, does help a little bit, being able to magnify it, so I'll keep OBS in mind moving forward with that. But oh my god, trying to align all of this on a screen that is this big, and even here it's not perfect because you'll notice because it's so small, it's on such a small screen that the pixels change a little bit. They don't represent, it's not accurate. It's not completely accurate in terms of how it's represented, which is it doesn't matter when you just have like random things like a crow, or it's just one object. It doesn't matter that much. But when you want things to align, oh my god, it is so freaking difficult because it's not, you can't really tell until you go into the mode, right? So like, and just look at that. So like that looks like it would be fine, except it's not. You could actually tell a little bit there. See if I could line this up perfectly. I had the most trouble with this thing. Let's test that. Let's see. What is the accuracy of that? Not great. Not what it should be. Just fun little thing that is the most annoying thing on the planet. It would be so easy if they had a bigger screen. Why is this the size of the screen? Anyways, I think I just explained everything that is new here. The art has a small change in direction, but I think it'll be a good one. And the battle system is... It could use a little bit of cleanup. Not everything's going to be within my capabilities, because I did not write the code for that. But so far, people have been really good about helping me out with their plugins and stuff. I mean, someone added a whole new feature because I had a problem. That's awesome. So the community is super, super great, which is nice because I did pay for these things. This plugin, that was $15 I paid for that, which is it's good. It needs a little bit of work. It needs to get cleaned up a little bit. That's it. But in its like core aspect, I'm a big fan, and I will be using it because it's kind of a big part of the gameplay aspect of the battle system, is to be able to parry. That's the only way I could really do that, and it gives me all these other options. It just needs to be fine-tuned a little bit, but I feel like the result that I have also is perfectly fine. I think that I think it works. It feels good. I don't know how it is for you guys. Also, I'm about to start working on more of the world here. I had to Still some things I think need to get cleaned up a little bit, but now it's time to move into the actual first chapter, and I gotta draw all that out. But I've been the last week and many hours has been spent on figuring out the battle system, and it's not been easy. But I think that I like where it's at, and hopefully I could get everything else kind of figured out. But it seems like feel like I got it. Might be a little bit of extra effort on my end, but that's okay. Nothing wrong with that. I do like where it is now. The only other thing that is really frustrating is that I cannot find there's not a single preloader that I could find that works for background music. So I had to change the original background music. I went into Soundtrap and I changed the length, the size of the audio files because it was too laggy. It was too big of a file, and it didn't really need to be that big. Hopefully the loop is clean. I thought what my thought process was like I could have it so there's this really long background sound, and then there's not like a lag here like there used to be. Used to be a little bit of a lag there. My thought process was that you could have like a long background music and there'll be like a secret scary noise at the end of each track. I thought that was cool, but it is what it is. There's other ways I could have like random scary noises or whatever that aren't directly in the audio track, but I'm a millennial. And so I like things like that because my childhood was full of things like that. You guys remember CDs? Probably don't. You're probably younger than me. Rip. But that's what I got. That's the news. And hopefully the next news that I got will be cool. I'm going to take tomorrow off. Hopefully I will be able to. I'm taking most of next week off actually. Since I do not have as many expenses as I thought I would, so I will be spending a lot of next week, in the beginning of it at least, tomorrow and stuff, working on the game and progressing, because I have figured out quite a bit of things now. I got the core of everything, and I have the next a good portion of the next chapter written down, and other things going through my mind. You're gonna fight the guy, and then you're gonna like, oh, what's going on? Then you're gonna have to go check him. You're gonna go to the battle, and then you're gonna like, oh, now I have played the battles, and then you're gonna like, it's gonna open up a thing, and then you're gonna want to report that, because obviously, I haven't talked about what the plot of the game is. I don't want to do that. If I could help it, we'll see. I'll figure out how I go about that. But there's gonna be it's with the real world struggles, right? Like, this is a very Southern Gothic game. The best way I could describe it, because it's not quite like a dark fantasy game because of the setting, and it's not quite a Gothic game either. Like you explained, like Bloodborne. It's not like quite like that. It's closer to Fear and Hunger Termina, but I think a good way of describing it for me, anyways, is Southern Gothic, because it's a good description of it. It tackles the darker side of humanity and the darker, more intense kind of aspects of being human and the human experience and stuff that happens in life. And exploring that is a big part of the game and the kind of the bones to it. So I'm going to have you're going to report to the person, and then to the person, by the way, is going to be a swine officer, because why not? I don't want to make the cops look like good guys. It's going to be a swine officer. And the drawing of that's going to be, oh, dude, I'm so excited. And then there's going to be like a hub, and the hub's going to have like interesting characters that change. And it's going to get good. It's going to get good. At first I struggled, right? We're going to start lingering on a bit. So if you tune out, that's fine. This is 20 minutes of like not looking at anything. I understand. Maybe I could talk about other things, but I'm excited, friends. So I'll try and wrap it up. But I forgot what I was gonna say. But I am excited for where it's gonna go. I think it's gonna be special. You know, it's gonna be special to me at least. I'm not good at marketing. I've never been good at marketing. I've always just been on the art side of that, not the logistics of that. But I'm gonna continue doing what I'm doing and how I'm doing it, and hopefully it picks up, and hopefully the end product is good. This is kind of like my main thing right now, outside of the little bits that I do to make money. So it's kind of taking over everything else, which I don't think is a bad thing, because I think it's gonna be good. You know. Obviously, things are probably going to change as I go along, as I already have a little bit, but that's just normal. So, I don't know. That's that.